What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of
The Black Demon,
a megalodon shark movie that's not the Meg. Let's check it out. So I'm not the biggest shark fan movie person that there is. You know, I've seen a lot of the movies. There's plenty on offer, from Sharknado all the way to The Meg, which seems to be one of the more successful ones other than Jaws. But The Meg is kind of more of a movie that knows how to take itself and be silly with it a little bit. The Black Demon, however, is a movie that's still trying to play it straight. And for that reason, there's a lot of things going on in this movie that are making it a rough watch. First of all, it's $15 to buy. You can't rent it. You can just buy it early. I'm just going to tell you up front, wait to rent it or stream it, okay? So what is The Black Demon all about? Well, it's about this guy named Paul and his wife and his daughter and his son who go on a work trip to a oil rig where he works out in the middle of the ocean that he is basically checking up on to do an inspection on for his job on this oil company. It becomes very apparent very early on that the towns around him have been dried up because of this oil company. And when they get on the rig, things become exceedingly worse when they encounter a megalodon shark high on oil. This is a movie that I was just kind of like, hey, you know, I wouldn't mind watching a big budget shark movie. Let's get into it and see what it's like. This was directed by Adrian Grunberg, who actually got his start as a second unit director on a lot of really big films. And he actually got to direct the movie The Get the Gringo, Rambo Last Blood. So, you know, he's made his way around the block a little bit here with a couple of films. They weren't the biggest, best films out there. We also have two writers on this film. Carlos Cisco, who did work on Star Trek Discovery and some other stuff, and Boys Escueta, who did some work on the Blackwater TV series, which I have not seen. I really was not a fan of this film. I wanted to go, oh, this is a so bad it's good film. And in some ways, it has those appealing moments in it that are very few and fleeting. They're very sparse in the film. This movie has a terrible script, unfortunately. I'm trying to put it in the nicest way possible that I can, but let's just say it feels more like a cash-in on The Meg than it is actually a competent film. I'm honestly not sure what the scariest thing in this movie is. The megalodon, the black demon shark, or the insanely terrible script and dialogue. It honestly feels like this is what AI thinks humanity is like in a lot of ways, and I'm not trying to be mean here, but it's almost like they were like, hey, Chat GPT, can you tell me how to make a shark movie? And it's like, hell yeah, I'll figure it out. And it started creating one and making up all these inauthentic scenes one after another until the very tropic end. And boy, is it inauthentic. There is some choices that the people make in this movie that I just cannot believe. There are things that happen in this movie that people say to each other that just don't make sense. They are reacting poorly to each other. You're getting to know these characters in these bite-sized moments that just feel so inauthentic that you roll your eyes. And like when I say you roll my eyes, like I mean like I was getting physically angry, like why? Like that kind of attitude towards some of the dialogue in this movie, like the choices they made. Everything else, you know, it's shot pretty decently. The CGI is not the greatest, I'll be honest here. The main guy who plays the dad, Josh Lucas, is, I know, a better actor than this, but man, he has some of the worst dialogue in this movie where he's screaming at his kids, screaming about religion. It's just so tropey that it just is hard to swallow as a viewer. There was times I was angry. There was times I was just laughing out loud. There was times I was just like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. They did that, and yes, they did it. It's like you're going on a vacation, you know, for this movie, and while you're on vacation, like nothing works out, and at some point you just say to yourself, you just gotta come to terms with everything that's gone wrong, and just wait for everything to pass till it's over. Try to have a laugh or two to salvage what time and money you've spent to watch this film. I really try to be very fair in my reviews, and there are very few films that get me visibly, physically angry And this is one of those movies. Now, I did have a couple of moments of laughter, and I was cheering at one point in time because I wanted it so badly because the dialogue was just killing me, man. Like, the Meg knows that it's being a silly fucking shark movie. This movie is trying to be ultra serious, and they're pushing all these little things into it that you've seen in other movies that are kind of making this sort of Frankenstein megalodon movie. Now, you know, I'd almost say that I would rather watch Sharknado, but I would say Sharknado 2 because Sharknado is mostly stock footage, and I can't give that movie too much credit for using that much stock. But Sharknado 2 maybe is better than this, in my opinion. Legitimately, I would say about halfway through this film, I was pretty much over it. And I was just like, you know what? Eat the family. Eat everybody. I just want everybody to die in this movie because that will be the only redeeming thing that they could do at this movie. And by the end of the movie, all the melodrama that you're going to see is enough to cause vomiting. It's too much. Maybe somewhere in there are some minor things that I could say I enjoyed. It should have done better. Kills were kind of just okay. There was a couple that were okay, like they had some like cool effects and stuff that were going on in it. Not exactly plausible, but cool looking. That was about it. Most of this movie is just a lot of talking. It's just very apparent that this movie falls apart, and there's a lot of different people that are involved in this that I wouldn't say are just bad at anything. You know, sometimes it just happens when you're making these kind of movies. But yeah, this one just took a... And Christina didn't even finish it. She was like, she's the shark person. I was like, you want to watch this? She was like, oh yeah, let's watch a shark movie. And I was like, okay, cool. I was really excited. I waited for her to get off work, and then we watched it. And boy, did she not like it. She just left the room and went and said, I'm going to make dinner. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I would not pay $15 to see this movie. This is why you watch channels like this, just to make sure. Are there going to be people that like this movie? I'm sure there's going to be people that don't think it's the end of the world. And I'm not trying to say that it is. Trust me, I'm an advocate for making movies, you know, like giving them the better light than they deserve. I watch a lot of shitty movies on the podcast, and we talk and have a really good time talking about those films. And sometimes they're just so bad it's good. This is not even one of those films. This is so bad it angers you. Now, this is supposed to be based off a Mexican legend of the Demonio Negro, which means black demon, of course. And it seems like America doesn't churn out the best results when it comes to legends, unfortunately. Like La Llorona just did not do as well as I was hoping. And this is obviously not the legend that the black demon was, probably for those people. The only redeeming thing I'd say in this movie is the character Chato, who is one of the guys on the rig named Julio Cesar Cedillo, who I thought was actually a good character. I mean, I don't even know if it's even the actor's fault or the director's fault. It just feels like a dialogue problem, a story problem. It is very paint by numbers when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I honestly think that everybody could have done better. What would I give a score? Probably a 3 out of 10, maybe even less. I've seen worse, but when it comes to these big budget movies, I feel like I can lean into it a little bit more because they have a lot more people working on it, so there's a lot less excuses for them to make a bad film, whereas a $20,000 budget Sharknado or Santa Shark, whatever movie, knows what it's supposed to be dealing with and is fully aware of its situation and monetary value. This is a big budget movie that had no reason to be this bad. You know, with as many people that you paid, this should not have been this bad. Stick to the Meg, maybe even Sharknado 2. This was just not for me. I would totally wait till streaming on this one, but if you loved it, hey, there's always someone out there that loves every single movie. I'm just here to tell you what my opinions are. I'm not a tastemaker. I'm just here to tell you what I think and what I feel about it, because we all have different opinions and what to expect. You might get some big value out of this, some so bad it's good, but it is more going to be pretty hard to watch when they say and do certain things in this movie. Trust me. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Plus, hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. We got plenty more on the way, obviously, and a podcast you can check out that's audio form on Spotify, everywhere you listen to podcasts. Just look up Beyond the Void Horror Podcast, where all the links are down below. But thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.